This is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
It's always where reality sets in. Rodney Harrison, Mike Florio, Tony Dungy, Mike Tirico looking back at Week 15 because at the Monday night game, Week 15, and then Week 16, Week 17, we're down to 33 games left in a 256-game NFL season. We've got a bunch of teams already in the playoffs. But I want to talk about one that didn't get in the playoffs Sunday but has been the headline team. That's the Cowboys. And the Cowboys, you're expecting everything to fall apart on them. And they went out and dominated the Rams. Looks like the NFC champs are going to have a tough time getting back into the tournament. What do you take away from the Dallas win?
Well, I think we see what Dallas is capable of when they're firing on all cylinders. I was impressed their defensive line got after the quarterback. They shut down Todd Gurley. And then offensively, they got back to Zeke Elliott. I think that's the way they have to play.
Today, the Cowboys were the kid who brings home straight A's after 5 years of straight D's. And so the reaction is, well, five periods. I don't know. However often they give out report cards, it's been a long time. But that's when the parents say, that's great, but where's it been?
Right.
Why now? Why now? And that's what really surprised me. This game doesn't mean anything to the Cowboys' grand scheme of things. They still need to beat the Eagles next week, right? And close out the season the right way. But it was good to see them being back to who they can be, beating a team with a winning record for the first time all year. I mean, it encourages all of us to see the Cowboys living up to their potential because we didn't think they were ever going to.
When they're focused, when they're engaged, they can play with anybody. Defensively, when they're flying around, Sean Lee, you need some of your key guys, some of your key veterans to make plays. Sean Lee made a key interception, but running the football, setting the tone at the line of scrimmage, that's where it really starts for the Dallas Cowboys.
And they didn't have Leighton Vander Esch in this game, so Lee comes up big. They had two running backs over 100, both Zeke and Pollard. And the question now, can they be that team, Rodney, and do this against the other teams in the NFC? Look, we know who the heavyweights are. Seattle and San Francisco and New Orleans and Green Bay, and Minnesota is a tough out as well. Can Dallas be as good as those teams in a playoff spot?
I would say at this point, probably no, because you just don't know what you're going to get. They're just so inconsistent. They're so up and down, Coach, and you don't know when the Cowboys wake up on Sunday if they're going to come to play or if they're just going to lay down.
To me, that's the thing. You have to say no because for 13 weeks, we haven't seen it week in and week out. Give us 3 or 4 weeks in a row of this. And maybe I think they just had too much success throwing the ball early on, and they became a team,
excellent point.
We can do this. We're going to put it in Dak's hands. Zeke wasn't there at the beginning of the year. This is how they have to play if they're going to win.
But here's what they can be, guys. They can be a disruptor in the wild card round, hosting a team like the 49ers or the Seahawks, knock that team out, go on the road. Hey, they haven't been to the NFC Championship game since 1995, so I don't expect them to win on the road in the divisional round, but they can take a team that is capable of running the table out of the tournament that first weekend.
It could be a 12-4 team, Seattle or San Francisco perhaps, going down to Dallas to play the 8-8 Cowboys. And they'll be at home, 4 games difference. It won't matter. What about the Rams? Just one quick word. The defending NFC champs, unless they win out and Minnesota loses its last 2, we will not see the Rams in the postseason.
Yeah, we talk about Dallas. We've seen the same inconsistency with the Rams.
Yeah.
And, they played not very well today. Jared Goff was not very good. We saw them lose to Devlin Hodges in his first start. And then we saw them dominate Seattle. So which team is it and who shows up for them, too?
And the big problem for the Rams offensively is just they're not consistent as far as running the football. Todd Gurley to have 11 carries and Jared Goff to throw the ball 51 times. That's just not the formula to win football games.
That offense only works when Todd Gurley starts rolling early. And I think they've got I know they have a big decision to make on Gurley's contract in March when another $10 million or so becomes fully guaranteed. They may start thinking about alternatives, probably on the first-round draft pick.
You actually think that's a tough decision? Because I think it's an easy decision. Well, you can find a 4th rounder or a 3rd rounder or a 5th rounder to come in and do what Todd Gurley
You have to find somebody who can come in and do it at a high level, though. It can't just be a guy who moves the chains. It's got to be a guy who can be dominant. And by round 4 or 5, it's hard to find.
And you say it has to be that kind of guy because that sets up Goff for success. He's successful when he has that. Just in one sentence, your first thought, South Philly on the Sunday before Christmas. It'll be dark when the game kicks off. Dallas at Philly. First thought on the game.
I like Dallas when they're backed up and nobody thinks they can do it, just like they were today. I think they'll go up there and play well and win. And Philly, we saw them, they're banged up.
And neither of the last two wins for the Eagles have been impressive. They had to come from way behind to beat the Giants, and they let Washington hang around today. What the Cowboys did today, if they can play like that next week, it's not even going to be close.
It's a great point. They just beat 2 3-11 teams and had to do it at the overtime and at the very end of the game. Great point.
I think you said it best, Coach. A lot of times when their back is against the wall, they come out and play, but when they're having success, they become complacent because this is not a very mature team. And I think the main thing that I see that's lacking from them is just leadership across the board on both sides of the ball.
If I were Jerry Jones, I'd have the Dallas writers write all week. They can't do it. They're going to get killed up there.
Right.
Then it guarantee a win, basically.
All right, Tony time, number 2.
Yes, I've got question number 2. What are your thoughts on the 49ers losing a must-win game at home to the Atlanta Falcons?
First of all, I didn't think it was a must-win, but I thought they were the best team coming in. I thought they were the best team in the NFC. It's a disappointing loss, but sometimes when you lose a game like this, it can get you back, refocus. It can humble you a little bit, and wake you back up. But very disappointing loss, Mike.
And we all knew this was a potential trap game. The 49ers saw it coming. Kyle Shanahan, the head coach, spoke with reporters on Friday about how easy it is with a team like the Falcons to get his team's attention because of what the Falcons did to the Saints. The Falcons manhandled the Saints in their own building. The 49ers barely won. It should have been enough to get the attention, and maybe it's just that the Falcons, when everything falls just right, are a much better team than we realize, and they were the better team today.
And give them credit. They have beaten New Orleans and San Francisco, 2 of the best teams in the NFC, on the road here in the second half of the season after opening 1-7.
But think about this with San Francisco. They haven't been here once again. So they're learning how to deal with success and how to handle all the media attention that they're getting. So, you know, they're going to have a letdown every now and then.
It's been a long time since that bye week, too. I think they could really benefit from a week off, and that's where that Week 17 showdown with the Seahawks is going to be so critical.
And I still think this team is built to run the football. And when they're running it and pounding it, and then Jimmy Garoppolo's got easy play-action passes, and that helps the wide receivers. Today, George Kittle got open. No one else got open and did anything. But if they get back to running the football like they can, they're tough to beat.
It's almost unimaginable. The team had a 21-play, 10-plus minute drive to score a touchdown in the game, and they don't win it. And it's interesting that you mentioned the Week 17 game. The San Francisco will host the Rams on Saturday night. Seattle will play Arizona at home on Sunday, and that could set up Seattle-San Francisco, which could be a game for the 1 seed if you win the 5 seed, and that trip to Dallas we talked about. If you lose, that game's in Seattle, Week 17. So there's going to be a lot on the table for both of those teams in that game.
First things first, though. They've got to deal with the Rams.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
Who have to win.
The Rams, it's a playoff game for them.
All right, number 3.
All right, number 3. Which team do you trust more, Rodney, the Green Bay Packers or the Minnesota Vikings?
Wow. It's hard for me to go against Aaron Rodgers, but I would say I'm going with the Vikings simply because of the defense. Kirk Cousins, he's been playing outstanding. The caveat to that is Dalvin Cook, he got hurt, and that's a big part of what they do offensively. But the maturity that they show going to the West Coast, how many times have we seen teams go on the West Coast and lose? I like the veteran leadership, and I like the maturity of the Minnesota Vikings.
We saw it happen to the Packers out there when they went to play the Chargers in L.A. They lost 26-11. But the thing about the Vikings, you can't count on 7 turnovers every week. But the defense was swarming. They were creating opportunities. Even if Dalvin Cook's injured, if they can get Alexander Mattison back. He missed today's game with an ankle injury. I think the running game could be okay. It's ultimately going to come down to Kirk Cousins. He's going to have to make plays at the right time, and today he didn't have to. At some point he's going to have to. But I think across the board the Vikings may be a better team. It's just at that one critical position you've got Aaron Rodgers, one of the all-time greats, and Kirk Cousins, who has yet to really deliver in the clutch.
I really like the Vikings. I like their total team, the way they run the ball with Cook and their defense. But in this game, when they play against Green Bay, I see Aaron Rodgers putting Devontae Adams on that left side and throwing at whoever is over there, Xavier Rhodes, whoever is on the right corner for Minnesota is going to have a tough time. We saw Mike Williams have a big day today. I think Aaron Rodgers is licking in his chops at that matchup.
The only problem that I've seen, I haven't seen Aaron Rodgers really truly dominate this year. I mean, he hasn't thrown a bunch of interceptions. Right. He's thrown some touchdowns. But, you know, it's going to be hard for them to make a long run in the playoffs if someone shuts down that run game. Guys, we're talking. if somebody shuts down that run game, and now it's on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, he only had 200 yards passing.
And your point's well taken. It's 3 of the last 4 weeks. Rodgers hasn't been dominant, over 300-plus yards. He was around 50% completions. So they need that aspect of their game to get going. If we have the playoff picture in the NFC, just to talk about it real quick, San Francisco with 2 wins, even though they're the 5 seed right now, they would still be the #1 seed. Seattle's up there for now, then Green Bay. New Orleans is 10-3. Dallas, if they win over Philly, they're in. Minnesota just has to win once. The Rams have to win twice and see Minnesota lose twice. So pretty much we're kind of down to 4 teams are in. And of those other 2 spots, you got 2 for 1, Dallas and Philly, 2 for 1, Minnesota and the Rams. So this thing cycled out quickly. Will home field matter a lot in these NFC playoffs, given how good all these teams are? And we've seen almost all those teams win on the road against a good team.
Yeah, I think the teams are so good and they're so evenly matched. I don't think home field will be a big deal this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to say it won't, but it's still always better to have it.
Sure.
You'd rather have it, but yeah, you're right. The 49ers won in San Francisco, or in New Orleans, excuse me. The Saints won in Seattle. Seattle won in San Francisco, so it can happen. And but still, you want to be home and you'll want the week off. Yeah, the bye means more. The bye means more than anything.
Everybody's got a running component to their game, a significant running component, save for New Orleans. And that's what you think about going on the road if you have to go to Green Bay in bad weather where you have to play an outdoor game.
But back when we were playing, you always thought, oh, if we have to go to New England in the playoffs, it's going to be really tough.
Right.
None of these teams, I think that. Oh, if we have to go to New Orleans, the way they played this year at home. Oh, if we have to go to San Francisco. Well, Atlanta just beat San Francisco in San Francisco.
Exactly.
I think you said it best. All these teams are so evenly matched, you just never know.
Dr. Florio, you have number 3?
Number 4 under Rodney.
We're going so fast.
Reaction to Texans win over the Titans, Coach?
I was shocked. I really was. The way the Texans played against Denver and the way Tennessee runs the ball, I thought Derrick Henry was going to have a huge day. Tannehill had been playing well. I just didn't see this one coming at all.
Yeah, and that's the thing for me, too, looking at the Texans, and that's why it's hard for me to really trust them because, you know, when they're playing well, they can play with anyone, kind of very similar to the Dallas Cowboys, but which Houston Texans team is going to show up? The one against the Patriots, the one that lost against Denver, the one that, you know, showed out today. You just don't know what you're getting from the Texans consistently, Mike.
What impressed me the most, Rodney, from the Texans was once the Titans scored 14 in a row and it was tied up. The Texans didn't fall apart. The next thing you know, they're up by 10 points, and they were able to hold on. So the Texans showed some resilience. And they're just one of these teams that they get some success and they can't handle it. And then they fall back and they put it all together again, and that's what we're seeing. And it looks like, for now, they're going to be the team that emerges in the AFC South.
What does it say about the Titans, though? The Titans have been hot, and they're playing at home in a game you have to have, and they couldn't do it.
The most AFC Southish thing that could happen would be for Tampa Bay to beat Houston in Tampa on Saturday, and then Tennessee to beat New Orleans and set up a Week 17 in Nashville with the whole division on the line. But and by the way, Saturday, you have 3. You know, rare that we have 3 Saturday games, and they're all good. Houston at Tampa Bay with the import if Houston wins, they're in the playoffs. And Tampa's one of the hotter teams in the league. Jameis threw for 8 gazillion yards against the Lions and 4 touchdowns. Then New England, Buffalo in Foxborough, and then the Rams go to San Francisco to try to stay alive. And we talked about the importance of the Niners. Speed round time.
And make it fast, Mike.
But next week, there's holiday speed round music for you. This is just Rodney birthday music. Happy birthday, by the way, Rodney.
Thank you, sir.
A healthy Chiefs offense is blank. These are all fill in the blank, by the way.
Explosive.
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 Unstoppable.
Scary.
He's back.
Yeah,
back.
They are back.
See Tyreek Hill get in the end zone a couple of times. The Patriots offense looks blank.
Miserable.
They scored 37 points today. 37? 34 points.
With defense, pick sixes.
Against who, Mike?
Cincinnati. They're no longer on to Cincinnati. They're over
Mildly
Cincinnati.
improved is what I'll say. Mildly improved.
They'll get, they'll score 13 points on offense against Buffalo.
Against Buffalo? You think so? Who was the fill in the blank? Was that Match Game? The game show Match Game was fill in the blank?
Yes.
Is that
Gene
Rayburn?
Yes.
Gene
You need to get
Rayburn,
to the long
skinny
microphone,
Yes. Where's Brett Summers? Blank is the most befuddling team of 2019. Blank.
Cowboys.
Cowboys, yeah, that's good.
I'm going to have to say the Rams. You know, defending champions or defending NFC champions, and they're probably not going to make the playoffs.
I'll probably say, it's the Chargers. The Chargers.
Yeah,
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Let me change.
Come back. I'll go Houston. I'll go Houston off of today and the other weeks. D, Eli Manning is blank.
A Hall of Famer.
Rodney jumped in. He buzzed quick. Nobody else could get in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I like it. We encourage
I mean,
that.
they give him such a hard time.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he won 2 Super Bowls against, the so-called best quarterback and head coach. I mean, you got to give him props.
I don't know that he's going to be a Hall of Famer quickly. It may take some time. It helps that he gave us 2 of the all-time great plays we've ever seen. The underrated throw in Super Bowl 46 and the one we know about very well from Super Bowl 42, Rodney. And the fact that his last name is Manning is going to help him at some point. I mean, let's be realistic. At some point, the fact that he's a Manning will be a factor and push him over the top, right?
He won 2 Super Bowls, and he was a Super Bowl MVP. It doesn't matter if he get in 5 years after or 10 years after, he's getting in. That was my point.
Tony?
I'm going to say.
All right, Rodney Harrison.
I'm going to say unfortunate because he's had to play on such a bad team over the last 3 or 4 years. I would really like to see him finish out his career on a good competitive football team.
I'll give you 2 answers. Eli Manning is first class.
Yeah.
And Eli Manning is appreciated, finally, by Giants fans. I thought, New York fans can be the sourest and the toughest, but to listen to and see the reaction from Giants fans of what might be his last home start, I thought was just so
great to see.
And the charity work that he does, he really has been top-notch, without question.
Finally, I know you want to wrap this up, Rodney. When you remember the black hole, Oakland, you'll think of blank.
I'm trying to be respectful. I'll just say this: a bunch of passionate fans. At times they went overboard, but really loved the Raiders. But I tell you this: I would never ever bring my family that played there 6 times. Would never bring my family there.
The first thing I think of is those spiked shoulder pads, right?
Yeah.
The costumes and that intimidating and a great atmosphere, and we'll see how much of that translates to Las Vegas.
The craziest, most outrageous fans, supportive fans that you would ever see. It was a unique group there.
Yeah, it was Bourbon Street in the Bay Area.
Yep.
It was a little bit of everything. I would say when you remember the black hole, you'll think of unbridled passion, because those people were so passionate and loyal to their team. Rodney, I said it was your birthday, right?
Yes,
not
sir.
just.
Oh, I thought you was about to hit me.
We've got 2 birthdays.
You thought people were going to hit you.
We've got not me, not me, the wrong Mike. Get out of here with that thing.
You think it was Florio's birthday?
Do we have 100 candles? I think we need 100 candles. 53 plus 47 is 100.
We would need 100 candles.
Right. Or do we need 103? 53 plus 50. I'm confused.
No.
I've heard all day you're 50.
I'm not 50 years old. I'm 47.
Well, we do it because it's the NFL's 100th anniversary.
Yes.
Now,
Perfect.
so next year we each get half a year. Rodney wants to put the cake in Florio's face, so we have to go. Rodney says go like this. No.
I was gonna buy him another $300 suit.
I don't pay for it anyway.
We hope you and your family enjoy the holidays the same way we do. As you can see, it's so much love. We're only together one day a week. Happy birthday, everybody. Happy holidays. Goodbye. Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.